Hello, everyone. My name is Israel Goodness Balogun. Again, I'm here, and then it's a program that we have every Tuesday in where we discuss the concept of Africa, or let me say, the concept of man. As it is right now today, we are going to look at it at this program again from this platform, and I believe that we are going to be having very interesting experience today. Well, why are we here? What are we here to do? What is the essence of today's discussion? Why are we here to discuss? We are here today to talk about drifting in life. You see, before I bring up my guest and then my co-host, as we begin to talk to you about what this topic is all about, I really want you to do me a favor. I want to go ahead and share this video. Let's invite as many as possible, bring them up as we go into this wonderful discussion. Last week was so interesting, and I'm very sure we are going to learn a lot today and understand more what we are here to do and why we are doing this. Believe me sincerely, friends, it is very important that you do your part by sharing, because this discussion is going to be interesting, and I believe somebody is going to be learned, is going to be blessed by coming for this program. We're going to be here for just within 45 minutes. We are done for today, but I want you to share, share, share. Before I bring my guest on, I want to share. I want to share, share, share. Pick the link right now, share it on all platforms where you are, invite as many as possible. Let us have an interesting moment of discussion together. We are here today to talk about a very important topic that I title drifting in life. It's very important that we come to that term and understand why we are talking. Drifting in life is a program that we are going to be, it's a topic that we're going to be treating today on this platform. We started this program last week and we're here gisting and discussing about the program all through. But here we are dabbling into the program now. Let me welcome my co-host on this program as she tell us also what we're going to be expecting today, why you share.
Thank you so much. I thought you were going to be telling people the new name you've given me. Are you not going to tell them the new name you gave me?
Of
I have the
course,
new.
I expected you to display your media name, a media.
Yes, a media.
But
That's
yeah,
funny.
you are bearing Amidas. No, I wanted to be Amidia. Amidia is the name we give you on the show.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for introducing me again, and I'm glad that we're doing this show, and I'm really excited about this particular topic. It's a topic that's very dear to my heart, drifting in life, not having a clear sense of direction, where your life is ultimately going to end up, not setting goals. For me, it's a very interesting topic, and I think it's a topic that's extremely important to each and every person that's watching this and the people that you're going to share the link with. Like Israel said, share, share, share. Everybody needs to know about this topic.
So, what are you doing right now? I want to welcome some people who have joined already. If you are there right there watching us on this program, I want to press on that link and write a comment. Let me know you are here, and I want to share this video with as many possible, as many people as you can on all your platform. On all your platforms, share it. Pick the link and share it with as many people as you can share them. Let us have the discussion this evening. So if you are there right now watching us, just write something on comment. Let me know you are there so I can welcome you. And then we'll just go straight to the discussions while people are sharing. Let me bring on board our guest for today. And he's going to be the individual we are going to be talking to about drifting in life. What does it mean? How does this relate to you? How does it relate to me? Okay, I see somebody here. His name is Sheung Ige. We there here, bro. Thank you so much, Ige, for joining. I'm so grateful to have you here. Okay, another person has just said something. Well done, guys. Gabriel Akinyami. Amidia, can you pronounce that name?
I,
Leave the
I'm
Gabriel.
gonna leave it to you to do that.
Okay. because you are supposed to be a Yoruba lady, but I don't know if you can pronounce this name. Mr. Gabriel, so much. We are grateful to have you here this evening. For those who have joined us, don't forget to write your name or write something on the comments so I will know you are here and I can recognize you. And also don't forget to click on that share button, bringing on board as many people as possible. Of course, here we are today. Before we start, I just want to introduce my guest to you immediately when we come back from this short break. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Who am I having here today as our guest for today? Is nobody but Dr. Arize. Dr. Arize, you are welcome for today.
Thank you very much, Israel. Nice to be here again. Thank you.
We appreciate you. You were here last week as we discussed, and this week again we are having you here also. We're going to start a discussion with you, and I want my co-host to open the floor.
Oh, thank you. Well, like I said, this is a very interesting topic. For me personally, I think far too many people are drifting through life, and we're going to come back to that word drifting and what it really means. But it really is just that some of us, we coast through life, and I include myself in that category. You know, we kind of just accept whatever comes. We go with the flow. We let the wind blow us wherever we want it to blow us or wherever it wishes to take us. And, you know, for me, I suppose the consequence of that is that you're not living life with real intentionality or purpose. But, you know, Dr. Arinze, what exactly is it to drift through life or to drift in life? What does it mean, really? Because I think that can become very confusing.
Well, I will just ask you to imagine that you are in an ocean liner going at the middle of the sea. Yeah, and then your engines fail. If you have been near the ocean or you've watched it even in movie and see how the seas blow, that's how the circumstances of life come into people's lives. It could be caused by anything. But if you imagine the ocean liner that is in the middle of the ocean, just going from one point to, and then the engines fail and it couldn't power itself anymore. Which direction does it go?
Wherever the wind blows it, I guess.
That's right. That's what it means to drift. Where the circumstances of life take me, then that's where I find myself. There is no inner motive force driving the life, and there is no steering of a particular direction. There is no known destination. Have you had people tell you, no man knows tomorrow?
Or you only live once.
You only live once. Those are kind of statements telling you that life is drifting, because they can't tell you where he's going to be tomorrow, where he's going to be next 5 years or next 10 years. He doesn't know. We're going to get there, then we'll see. That's a life that is drifting.
Dr. Arize, may I ask you, you just make mention of a very important something. You said, when you are drifting, it's like you say, no one knows tomorrow.
Yep.
That you are just an individual who live and doesn't have a direction.
Yep.
You live based on whatever the model present to you.
Whatever circumstance is driving, wherever the circumstance takes you to, that's where you find yourself. And that's what you're resigned to.
That may be applying to life as relating to majority of human beings on planet Earth today, because I think personally 90, if I'm not exaggerating, 92 or 95% of people on planet Earth today are living with this mindset. If that is true, I don't know. But if you gather 100 people, I want to say that 90 of them or 95 of them live with this mindset of whatever tomorrow presents.
Yep. You are not far
How
from
do
that.
we measure? How do we measure at the point when I know that I am not living by what tomorrow presents? Most of us go to school with the hope of better tomorrow, actually.
Yes.
Yep.
Most of us proceed to for masters with the hope of better tomorrow. But does that indicate that we are trying to predict or we are resisting to be rifted by life? Or how do we actually measure in tangible terms individual who is being moved by the wind of life, an individual who is specifically working towards a plan or a goal set?
So I guess
Well,
what you're saying, Israel, is what are the indicators? So if someone was watching this, right, and they're sitting there going, "Am I drifting in life or am I not?" What would be the indicators? I guess is what you're saying, isn't it?
there are several. There's several of them, and I hope probably we'll be able to touch some of them today. In fact, you know, I normally use a character when I'm doing training. There's a training that we do to help people to avoid drifting in life. I'll probably be talking about that training later. But in that training, normally I introduce it by making people go through some assessments to find out these indices. The word you use, you're right in those indices, in that those words, indices. There are some indices in somebody's life that will make you know you're drifting. For example, you don't know what you want to do. Somebody asks you, what do you really want to do with your life? Say, I don't know. That tells you you don't know what. In fact, it never even occurs to you that people do things with their lives. To you, we just live. I'm born, I go to school, and I look for a job to get money to eat. And if I think I will have less chance, if I will have a better chance getting a job to have food to eat, then I'll do my master's. Or if I think I'll even have yet a better chance, I'll do my PhD. So you can have a PhD and still be drifting. You don't know how next 5 years will be. Because you are not in control. You are not the one taking yourself to where you are going to be in the next 5 years. Therefore, you can make plans. You gave an example. I was going to say, if you, a lot of people can enter that ocean liner example I gave. You can pay your ticket and get in there, right? That doesn't mean you're going to get to your destination. I said the engine quit. If the engine quit, your boat is going nowhere and you are not in control. You are at the mercy of the winds and the storms of life. So whenever whenever anybody's life is left at that, and I can tell you, most of these our viewers might even been from Nigeria or Africa as a whole, where we leave a lot of things in the hands of God. Yeah. So we can be leaders in church and we are drifting in life. We can be top-notch lecturers in universities and we are drifting because we are really not in control. We can be pilots, we may have high professional jobs, engineers, and we are drifting in life because we can't really tell you this is what our life is going to achieve on earth before we leave. We have no direction. We are teaching now, or I am in my job now because the circumstance allows me to be there. The rough winds of life have not blown yet, so I'm there. If it blows, it knocks me off course. So, and that's kind of the experience that people have in life. And like Israel was saying, 95% of humans are living at that level. If they find themselves blown off course, they blame God. Well, that's the way God wants it. That's the way God, because it had never occurred to them that life is designed to be lived. They never really know what it means to live. To them, to many of this group of 95% that Israel talked about, living is synonymous with existing. They take it out for the fact that I am in that boat, existing in that boat. Then I am driving the boat, which is not true. I can exist in the boat, but I am not the pilot of the boat. Or the instrument for piloting the boat is not within my control. It is in another person's control. And wherever that person wants me to be, that's where I'm going to be. If he doesn't want me to be anywhere, then that's it. Whatever he wants, my life is directed by somebody else. And like I said before,
Before I let you proceed, because tonight is going to be very hot actually, and then
mhm,
I want my co-host to be ready, because you are actually pushing us to ask you further and deeper questions.
mhm,
Let me ask you, I live in Africa and I know the way Africa think, Nigerians
mhm,
for example.
mhm,
It is believed that God is in charge of our life. He
mhm,
determines who lives and who dies. He determines who succeeds and who fails.
mhm,
As a matter of fact, there is a general belief in my own planet or in my own world that you can work hard if God does not agree with it. So, but you are saying that I can be in charge of my life.
mhm,
But I grew up to believe that I cannot be, because my life is above me. And so God determined, apart from God, we also believe that if your parents should stand up and curse you, nothing you do in life will make. Apart from my parents, we believe there are witches and wizards somewhere,
mhm,
whom also has potentially have power to control what my life becomes. So I must continually fight them. We also believe that Satan, there is a Satan, I'm measuring different forces
mhm.
that does not give me opportunity to be in charge of my life. Therefore, let me encapsulate this under this statement by saying, what do you think? What do you say about faith? Fate.
Faith. You
Yes,
know,
Fate.
yeah, I get it. FATE. Basically, the idea that people have in their minds that their life is not within their control. It's in the control of an outside force that determines how they end up in life. Ignorance gone on rampage, as somebody would put it. And it's for lack of knowledge that cause people to destroy themselves. It happens everywhere. Lack of knowledge can make me eat poison. And the poison doesn't mind that I didn't know it was poison. Once it is poison, it will do its job, kill me, destroy things in my body. Lack of knowledge. And I bet you a lot of people that talk about and put God in this equation about human controlling life, and they say God is in charge. You know, in my training, I draw people's attention to what they see in their environment. If you want to know how a situation or circumstance will be when you leave it in the hands of God, all you need to do is to look outside, go out from your village, go right into the deep forest where human beings have not been yet. You will see a typical part of planet Earth that no humans have touched. You will see the condition that place is. That's how anything you leave in the hands of God, that's how the thing becomes. So if you will like it, that environment where no humans have touched, if that's where you would like to spend the rest of your days on earth, in that environment, then that's okay. That's the kind of life that you are expecting to be living on earth, even though you live in, I mean, the life experience you expect to be having on earth. Because I tell you that if you go out to an environment where humans have not touched, you find that that accommodation usually is very uncomfortable. You know, can you find a cave that you can go in because There is no house. The only accommodation that God has provided is the one that nature dealt with. Maybe inside a rock, maybe there's something happened and a rock has a caving in it, so they can enter and it protects you from rains. And you stay there. And of course, you go around, you collect the firewood that God has provided, which is the trees that have died naturally and dried by the sun and is available for fuel. So you go and collect them. And there are people that we used to live like that. Majority of our planet used to live like that. Many of part of the planet have come out of that, but there are still a lot of people that are living in that condition today. If they want to eat, they have to go and get the food that God cultivated. They don't plant, they don't rear animals. They have to go to the bush and find the animals that have been that grown by themselves, no multiply themselves. They catch animals and eat. Go find the roots or any kind of food that grown naturally, because they don't. God has to plant it, and God has to be the one providing it. So if you live your life in the hands of God, that's how your experience on earth is going to be. You will only have it good if, and as man keeps using up the animals that God is multiplying and don't do nothing to replenish them, the animals reduce and die off.
Become extinct. It's
They
not
feel
sustainable,
extinct.
is it?
Yep. If you leave the soil, you just go and collect the food you eat. Very soon, even the soil itself may not produce anymore. That's how natural. If I live my life, just allow it to be whatever God brings. The circumstances of life, I put it that God is one bringing them, and whoever want, if anything good is going to happen to me, I wait for God to bring it. If anything, if my life is going to avoid bad things, I have to leave it for God to make it to happen. If I want good government in my country, we just pray and leave it for God to bring good government. If I want health in my body, I pray and leave it for God to make me healthy. If we live with that attitude, and we did in the time past, but the experience of life will be very different. And most likely, and quite often, it's not what you like. And that's how people come to end up not knowing God. They don't know how good God is. They don't know how kind God is. They don't really know who God is. Because these experiences that they have handed over to what they call faith, or they believe it was God manipulating them. Is God drying up all the trees? Is God making all the animals extinct? Is God making the soil no longer to produce food? Now we have to migrate to another place where humans have not been and deplete that one and go to another place, because it's only God that has to provide it. God has to give us good governance in Nigeria, or God has to provide us good health by himself. If he doesn't, then there's nothing we are going to do. God will just leave it. That's what you call ignorance. A life that is drifting, controls nothing. Basically, I read the Bible, and there's a verse that I saw in the Bible that says that God made man and declared how he was going to shape man. Let's make man who will be in charge. The man that will have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the animals on the ground, over the birds of the air, over everything the man that will have dominion, that will be in charge, that will control, that will govern, man that will pilot the development of animal kingdom, the birds kingdom, the plant agriculture. Man will be in charge, developing it, manipulating them, driving them. That's what we are talking about. When a man is not doing that, he's drifting. That's right.
That's a sobering thought. But quite empowering to know that we are in charge of our life, despite what some may believe, I guess. But just to kind of take it in another direction, I'm just kind of thinking. So let's say I plan my life for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Doesn't that take the fun out of life? Some people like to live spontaneously, they kind of want to see where life takes them. Sometimes it can be a blessing, sometimes it may not. But what do you say to that? Does it not take the fun out of life? Does it make life a little bit boring to know what you're going to do and what you're going to accomplish?
Well, and that's where I must encourage every viewer to please take advantage of the training that we give. Because number one is that if the question you asked me is like saying to me, if the if I
It's going to
enter
be
into
hot today,
now
Dr.
that's right now
Renzi.
listen, if I enter into that ship that is sailing on the ocean, yeah, if I enter
Mm,
that ship, is it not restrictive to be powering it and be steering it to a particular direction? Doesn't
mm.
that take the fun out of life, out of the journey? Just leave it for the ship, for the waves to come and batter it, and then it goes on, then they batter again and land somewhere. Then that's the fun. Is that, I mean, is that what you mean? Is that the fun you mean? I'm trying to understand. Yeah.
Oh
But
dear. Now
but
I feel like I'm on the hot seat.
so well, that's no, I'm telling you, that's no fun.
Mm,
These people,
mm,
anybody that okay, but if you don't have anywhere you are going, I will tell you people that will enjoy that.
mm,
Kids, kids, kids that go to play on the shore.
mm,
Yes. If not for the danger of being lost, they will so much enjoy to be there and be blown and thrown about anywhere. Because I mean that's what the kind of park they build a park for them, isn't it? They like to skate, they like unpredictability. They like that. Kids like it. They want things that you cannot predict. They want to experience the certain jerk, that now they enter. That's why they are full of activity, not accomplishing anything.
mm,
That's their
mm,
life. So whenever anybody, any human that is still small in their mind and has no intention to accomplish anything, that's the way they live their lives. They
mm,
can be full of activities, but really accomplishing nothing. This earth is not being changed because of them. But they are okay. Because that's what I mean, they are busy, they are very busy. So they appear okay. So in our setting, if we begin to understand where our lives are supposed to arrive at, so number
mm,
one is that our lives are designed to arrive somewhere. Each one of us, we came into the earth with a definite purpose, a
mm,
definite destination.
mm,
We are supposed to be born, grow, develop, and hit a target before we leave. All
mm,
these things are built into us. But when we have not been helped to discover it and trained to take control, some of us actually think that that happens by osmosis, but it's not so.
mm,
If not been trained to take control of life and navigate life, your life will not be navigated because somebody else really can't do it for you.
mm,
What many of us have ended up doing with life is just getting food. Again, it's like the ocean line I talked about. You concentrate on putting fuel into the engine, just putting fuel, and let it just be rumbling, don't be rumbling, and you're putting fuel. So you are sure that the engine is there. Can you imagine if the captain doesn't know where this ship is supposed to go, but the engine is sound, and you're putting enough fuel in it, and the engine is running, it's churning up the water, but the captain has no idea where we are going to be tomorrow. He leaves it to fate. So whatever the wind, wherever the wind blows us, that's where we are going to be.
mm.
That mindset, that mindset. I think Israel is saying something. I can't hear you, Israel. We can't hear you. Your voice. Are you muted?
Israel, we're not hearing you.
We're not hearing you, Israel. We're not hearing you. We can't hear you. Okay. I will continue. Now, I
Mm,
can see that somebody asked somebody put as a comment I can see there. One Owoyo Ihyokan said, but we lost all that when man fall
mm,
into sin, my brother. Okay. All right. Whoever is speaking, I don't know whether it's a brother or a sister, with whoever you are talking about man fell into sin, and you didn't. Actually, you should have continued your statement by telling us what happened when Jesus came and delivered man out of sin. tell us what the state is now, because a restoration has happened. And that's why it's now good news, good news, good news. We are
Mm.
back in charge. The man is back in charge to drive life to arrive at the destination of his choice, just like was originally intended. We still, Israel, you're muted. You're
We
muted,
still
Israel.
can't
You're
hear
muted.
you, but just once,
Can you hear me now?
We
yeah,
can
we
hear you
can.
now. Yeah,
We can.
That
Yeah.
is exactly what I want to ask you. You just said man is back on track because resurrection has taken place.
correct.
But there is still this belief that only those who are born again are back in charge. And
Okay.
on planet Earth today, we have over 7 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
Out of them, we probably have up to 2 point something billion Christians by name.
Yeah.
Percentage of whom I can say 90% of those 2 point something billions are not born again according to religion of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that even within being a Christians, maybe we have like maybe 100 million, 200 million of them born again. So even when we say we are back on track because of redemption,
Yeah.
is this back on track meant for every human being or meant for just few that
Okay.
Christianity claim to have been born again?
Right. I think that to help put context to that and to answer to that question, the whoever put that statement said, uh, man fell. When man went into sin, we lost all that, and we got to know what man lost.
Mm.
Man lost knowledge. Man lost insight. Insight. That's what man lost. Now the restoration of man is not restoration of Christians. Restoration of man. Restoration of man. The price that was paid for the whole world, for every human being, including those not yet born. When they get born, they find that their price have been paid, that their insight have been restored. Now we preach the gospel. Those that are sent to is to announce this good news. It's a good news. It's news. Ah, that's your name, Israel, isn't it? Good news. It's good news to tell everyone that thing. Yes, we lost something when man fell, but it's been restored to man. It's been restored to man. God announced the good news to everybody. Now, Israel asking me a question. How about those that haven't received or agreed with this good news? Do they have insight as well? Have they started getting insight? It's very simple. I gave you illustration with that ocean liner. A captain that have got insight on how to navigate the ocean liner from point A to point B. Maybe the way he got the insight on how to do it is because of relationship with God. Now that he's been restored, his mind opened, and now he gained it. He saw how to do it and began to do it, and it works. Question: can he teach another person that is not even a Christian can do to navigate that ship? Can a non-Christian learn that knowledge he's now got? Of course he can. Of
Mm.
course he can.
Yeah.
Even though he is not born again, he hasn't received the good news. He has not. He said maybe his a background has not even told him there is a good news. He doesn't even know there is a good news. But the insight that has now come into humanity because of this guy who knew about the good news and probably spent time with God and received it. But the insight is now among humans. It's
Mm.
part of the wisdom that is now dwelling among men. It's now among men.
Mm.
Okay? So every human being can learn it. The Muslims, the Hindus, the Shinto, atheists, anybody can learn it. And when they learn
Dr.
the
Arize,
news,
Dr.
mhm,
Arize,
yeah,
please, I really love the way this person is pouring out his mind, and it will help to also respond to
sure,
many mindset.
correct.
Um, you make a mention of something that I think is fantastic, and I'm going to cut that section and make it available for many to watch. That the restoration of man's mind was restored. by that, and it was restored for all men.
Yep.
It was not restoration of Christians. But this
Mhm.
person agreed with the restoration, but he said this restoration is not for now, it's for future. In other words, it is in the, maybe I'm right. If I'm not right, Mr. Owoye, you can correct me. But I think what he's trying to say is that because it you are right that restoration has happened because of Jesus Christ. But it is in future. He is referring that this restoration is going to happen only when we resurrect.
Okay.
How true is this statement?
Oh, no, 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 no. This is, and anybody that lives with that mindset, number one, will be facing so many regrets when he leaves his physical body.
Mm.
Because that's when he will find out that the restoration happened 2,000 years ago. That's why it is called a gift. And that's why Jesus said, go and announce it to everybody now. Don't wait for them to die and come to heaven to tell Baba. They need it now. Go and announce the good news. They need to hear it now because it is for use at this time, not when they leave.
Mm.
The restoration of the mind, of the life of men, is for them to get it while they are still here breathing and make use of it. Yeah? Now, look, check out all the things that human lives are made for. The dominion that man was given is not to be exercised in the future when he goes to heaven. It's earth, it's planet earth, is why we are here. When we say we lost that, we didn't lose it because we've died. We are still here on it when we lost it. Why do you think when God wants to restore it, he waits for us to come to heaven? The restoration happened 2,000 years ago. It is being offered to man. Go and announce the good news so that the man can become aware. You know what? When he becomes aware, he starts taking action. He starts acting differently. Instead of acting like somebody who has lost something, he will be acting like somebody who has acquired something. Think about the difference. Think about the difference. If I have lost some, instead of living and functioning like somebody who has lost something, who doesn't have, and we are talking about drifting in life, taking charge of life. A man functioning in the state of mind where he does not have control. Outside forces are reigning over his affairs. He doesn't have. When he gets the good news that the controls have been restored, that he has been now brought back to the state he was supposed to be in the beginning, the mind shifts and he starts acting now like somebody who has acquired controls. Different set of actions. And you could see the tragedy of this man's mind being still blinded, and he lives his whole life on earth thinking he will acquire controls when he goes to heaven. Well, in heaven, there are no negative circumstances to navigate, by the way. If you don't know the definition of heaven, heaven is a place where there are no negative, no fight, nothing to resist you. It's on earth, you face resistances. It's on earth, you need to dominate earth. You don't need to dominate heaven. It's earth. You need to dominate. The life of humans, we are made to be lived on earth. Earth, not heaven. Earth. The purpose of each human being was built into the man to fulfill it on earth. On earth. Not when he dies. If he doesn't fulfill it before he dies, he's missed the boat. His opportunity is gone.
Dr. Rinze, I'm just thinking, if you can put this in perspective for myself and for people watching as well, what is the real problem with drifting in life? So say I let the winds of life blow me whichever way, so what?
Mhm.
What if it's a blessing? Let's say I get blown into a really good job or something, or what have you. There's no real problem. I'm still alive. I have my health. I have my house. I have my job.
Mhm.
What's the real consequence?
All right. It plenty of consequences, I'm telling you. Because and now let's start with you alone first. Number one, you are telling me if I am in that ocean liner you talked about and it has no engine, the engine has quit. In other words, it's not being powered towards any direction. The
Mm,
only force driving it is the one coming from outside circumstances. Yeah,
mm,
driving me. And right now, it drove me to an area of calm waters. I have a good job, my family, marriage, relationships is fine. I have good children. I live in a
mm,
good environment. Maybe I live in
mm,
Europe or
mm,
America. Yeah. So no, I don't have any problem. Sure,
mm,
you don't.
mm,
You are in an ocean liner in the middle of the ocean because the wind is not blowing now. You think you
mm,
don't have problems.
mm,
You are in serious trouble because the wind is coming.
mm,
That one is for sure.
mm,
It's coming. You are
mm,
in an ocean. The wind is coming.
mm,
And then you're telling me I am not in control, directing this life where it should be, because I'm in calm waters now. I'm going to be in calm waters for the rest of the existence. Because I wanted to say the rest of your journey, but you're going nowhere, so there's no journey. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you are in the for the rest of your existence. You will be in calm waters. That's
Mm,
also something not quite right. You know, you're not fully developed yet. For you to think that you are going to be on the sea for the rest of your existence and there'll be no waves, no storms of life.
mm,
Not quite.
mm,
So there is number. So I'm talking about on
Okay,
your personal level. On your personal level. But sorry, Israel. Let me take this a little bit further. That's just consequence on your personal level, right?
mm, mm,
Now you were designed to arrive somewhere.
mm,
And I was using the illustration of the ocean liner. But let's move to a human being because we are not just existing that you move. The journey of life is not going from Nigeria to United Kingdom or from United
mm,
Kingdom to United. That's not the journey of life.
mm,
The journey of life is altering society. I
mm,
arrived to the place where man was made and placed in the garden. As soon as man was made, the creator placed him in the garden and said, alter the garden, work on
mm,
it.
mm,
And I've given you illustration earlier about an environment where man has not done this job. An environment, just go to the forest area where no man has been. So
mm,
no man has tried to practice altar in the garden there. No buildings are there, no roads are there, no technology, nothing. Just the way God created it. God is
mm,
fully responsible.
mm,
Now, can you imagine if each human being on this earth has lived that way? We have just allowed lives to drift. There was no mind about building roads. There is no mind about creating technology. We can't be talking now because what we are using to talk now wasn't made by God.
nah,
It was made by
man.
individuals, people
Mm,
that thought about it and
mm,
saw it ahead and took time to bring it, to make it happen. Now we are using it to communicate, even though we
mm,
are thousands of miles away. But
mm,
this didn't always used to be. Okay, in the time past, they didn't have this. But man had journeyed towards this, and there's much more coming in the future. So if you want to know, you're asking me the question, what's wrong? I mean, why should I have a purpose? Why should I be a direction? So I'm asking you, subtract all the results we are having today that came
mm,
about only because man had a picture of a future and
mm,
drove himself there.
mm,
A human being thought about flying and walked himself towards flying. And now we can send rockets to the moon. A human being thought about technology, roads, hospitals. Can you imagine? There was a time we didn't have hospitals, and you only need to go to history and read and find
mm,
when we left everything about health to God, when we left it to God.
yeah.
Eh?
Mm, mm,
And all any prayer, malaria used to wipe people out, particularly in our part of the world, Africa, wipe people out. When that was left to God alone to handle, you know how many people were living their lives full at that time. Because man got involved and intervened and
mm,
saw a possibility of changing this equation, walked himself towards and altered it. The winds of life blew. Each of the people that walked on it had circumstances of life that blew them because of a destination. that they were targeted to get to. They kept working on it. And some are still working on that direction today in other parts of medical field or scientific innovations or technology or even national development. So without a purpose, your life is in shambles. The nation is in shambles. And if I can summarize why the state of our country, Nigeria, is the way it is today, is for lack of individual purposes. If there's a reason why Africa as a whole is in the poor state it is, the difference between Africa experience today and the experience we're having in Europe as a continent is it will drill down to what I've just told you. There are more individuals in Europe that has a direction they are pursuing to get to bring society to, than you have in Africa.
So I guess that's saying if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything applies here.
Anything will be all right because there is nothing really that
Dr. Arize, I will need to cut you right now because we have a lot of comments and that even will make that may even make us to suspend our own question and address those comments. But before we go to the comment, I'll be right back to you. Everyone, welcome again on the Honest Africa Initiative. This is a program we are hosting on Trawin page. You want to go and look for that page wherever on Facebook, type Trawin. This page is for development of individuals who are interested in finding and developing themselves. I'm going to be sharing a website with you right now. There is a training coming up in January. And I believe me, this training will take you from being on the state of nothing to the place of becoming wholeness, that is, becoming human in totality, finding, developing, and fulfill your calling on planet Earth. So I want you to please make sure you stay glued on this program. And when I come back, I want to continue with some of the comments posted here by our viewers. But before then, let me show you this.
Want to hear this? That life actually is predictable.
Is this in talking at all, please?
You know,
Yeah.
A very strange concept. For me, it used to be a very strange concept to me. That life is predictable. Well, what I mean is that everybody can predict their own lives. And everybody is in the position to predict what will happen in the life of any other person. As long as you see the person, you see the way the person is living, you could actually predict what is going to happen to that person. And life is not a mystery. Sometimes the old world that we
know why I'm not hearing it, but I hope you're hearing it.
And
we are.
The that we're coming from and the traditions that we have inherited has convinced us that life is just a mystery. And I even heard preachers and pastors and leaders talk about the fact that life is a mystery. But what I want to tell you about today, that life is not a mystery. Mystery is something hidden. Mystery is something unknown. Mystery is something mysterious, something in darkness, that is covered in darkness and in some cloud. But God said that the things that are revealed, there are some things that are revealed, and not just some things are revealed, a lot of things.
Okay, I'm going to stop there, then go back to some of the things that people are putting up here. I will read some of the comments, and I want you to respond to them. We have misinterpreted these concepts wrongly, and it is absorbed. Christ's concept means for a man consciousness to arise and shift from all the 7 levels of knowledge through the chakras, the third eyes, and the rest. Jesus' concept was the worst deception given to man, especially Africans. Sad. I don't know what Queen Olivis is talking about. Seriously, I don't want to go there because I don't understand what he or she is talking about, except he expatiates. Okay, let me read this one. I agree with you that man have to dominate the earth because it was given to us. If Jesus Christ have restored us, why man still fall and sick and die?
Yeah,
Let me
Why do bad things still happen?
let's say
why do men still fall sick and die? I think that's what he wants to say.
or let's say why do bad things still happen?
Oh, yeah. Why do people still experience bad things? Yeah, I think yeah, that's another way to put it, because not just falling sick and die, it includes other bad things that people experience. I think what I will reply to our viewer is to know that you recognize that this is earth, is heaven, where you don't have bad things, what you call bad things, because not everything you call bad things that's actually a bad thing. Work, some people will call work a bad thing because they have to exert energy, have to exert themselves, have to put pressure on themselves to develop certain skills, go and search and not find it. They call it bad because I haven't found it is bad, because that searching is making them do what their flesh don't really want to do. So it's not everything that you call bad that is actually bad. But just to remind you that when you are told to dominate, it means there is a resistance to overcome. So if you do not dominate, means you are being dominated. And the question he was asking is saying, why is sickness still dominating man when Jesus has restored dominion to us? That's basically what he's asking. Okay, and he can ask the question anywhere. In fact, in the several dimensions. Why did slaves still remain in America after they signed the Declaration of Independence that the slavery have now abolished?
Yeah.
Why were slaves still in their with their slave masters? Why do countries why do countries not become independent until they kick that I'm a free man, we are supposed to come on, it's our right to be independent? Until, in fact, there's a phrase, you see, until you they say that a country does not, the independence is not given often willingly until the person being dominated kicks and demands for it. He's not giving it. You're talking about sickness. Let's take sickness, for example. Let's take sickness. I mentioned malaria earlier. Malaria was killing people. When man started kicking against it, when the mind of man, go and check how knowledge on earth developed, and you will see that the coming of Jesus, that word BC, the division of history between BC AD, that crossover is not in vain. This earth really altered because of the advent of Jesus. And one major index of the alteration of humans on earth is mind development, knowledge, the level of knowledge that man began to get since the advent of Christ. Now, and go and check it. When knowledge is available, the Bible now says, for lack of knowledge, that's why people experience some sorts of difficulties that they were not designed to. When malaria was killing everybody left and right and center, man didn't have dominion over malaria. How did man gain dominion over malaria? We invented drugs, knowledge. We applied our knowledge and pushed back and kicked back. We are claiming our independence. In fact, dominion over malaria, we are claiming it. And today we have it to some extent. We do. Mainly we have it. Malaria is no longer regarded as a killer in Africa. Why? Man has dominated it. There are some other diseases that man has not dominated yet. And you know what? We are still in the realm of COVID-19. When COVID-19 came and sweeping, can you imagine? My God. If thank God it didn't start in Africa. Thank God it didn't start in Africa. Because if it did, and the outside world, the West and European particularly, they never knew about it. Let's say started in some villages, Those villages will say, well, that's the will of God. Oh, no, that's the will of Allah. Just just His will. So we all we do is to organize more prayer meetings. That's the best we'll do. Hold longer night vigils.
Dr.
That's what we
Arize,
all will do.
we are exceeding our time
I
as it
think we
is.
have to have a part two to this, don't you think, Israel?
We
There's
wanted to
got to
have
be
a
part two. Part two.
45 minutes. We're already over an hour.
Mm.
But let me also say that some years ago in Nigeria, when some sicknesses broke out, like measles, Africa rather will go worship, appeal to gods. They call it God of Shakmana. Shakmana is the god of muses. Was God that was angry with them.
Yep.
Some years ago, when the level of stillborn was so high in Nigeria, Nigerians will go appeals to God. But suddenly, man applied knowledge, and the man came with injection.
Yep.
When you give back to a child, put this one in their mouth, put this one in their hand. Suddenly, the God that was angry became powerless.
That's right. Became powerless indeed.
The level of death, boom, went down.
Yep.
Because man
At the dominion of man.
Dominion.
Yep.
Over that situations.
That's right.
And I think you have answered a lot. That we're going to have part 2 of man shifting. And on this program, we don't want to exceed 1 hour, but let me read some comments, and you are not going to respond to them today. We have answered this one. I agree with you that dominion, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we have answered this one. He said, why is it that most people lose their concept because of position and still claim they were led by God? This will be answered next time, next week, by the grace of God. Why do you need hospital if Jesus Christ restore everything, my brother? When we have been trying to address this matter, why man is given dominion. I do not say bad thing, but why do people still fall sick and die? Because we have explained, I think we have explained enough on that topic. God's purpose on earth is for man to dominate the earth forever. Auntie Anyton watching. Welcome, Auntie Anyton. I think this person have stayed in abroad so long that he doesn't know that Anyton or something. You are just a point. You are just off point. Well, I don't know. And we can bring you on to come and explain yourself better. Why do we still fall sick and die? No. You will not fall sick of malaria again if you live in Europe. Malaria does not affect anybody again. If you live in Europe, there are some sicknesses that kill people in Nigeria now that does not kill children in Europe, in America again, until man come to realize that he has power over everything. Let me say that if coronavirus has broken out in Africa and Europe and America locked their border against us, we will have all wiped out.
Yep.
No way. But God, who gave man power to conquer and overcome coronavirus, is because he has given us power to dominate them. All right, this last one, man was created to live forever. Anyways, to every of our listeners, we are going to continue this program next week. But before I let you go, I must say to you that there's a program coming up in January for everyone who is interested. How you are going to register, we are going to make the link for registration available, which is online. Or let me say, I will let Dr. Arize to speak on this program briefly. Dr. Arize, you have just 1 minute to explain this program.
Yeah, the program, it will help everyone that is that goes through that program. It will help you to, number one, like I said, we go through this topic that we are talking about today to help you see the downward drifting that is happening in your life, and then take you from there to help you crystallize exactly what the direction of your life should be. And then you will be able to not only know what direction will be, but equipped with the skills to make your life arrive there, because we are made to do that. Each one of us made to do that. It's for lack of knowledge that we perish. And to join the program, if you go to Traywin website, that's TRAYWIN.org. traywin.org. If you go to that website, you will see the course information link at the top of the page. You click it, it will take you to where you can make an enrollment for the training. Starts 8th of January. Yep.
Fantastic.
That's good.
What did you time? Did you time yourself or now?
Well, hopefully Israel is not here. I don't think Israel is here. I think he's frozen now.
It's frozen. Okay.
What I've just explained is what will help you if you go to the web page I just mentioned. The course information is there, and then you can click it. It takes you to the page where you will be able to fill the form, application form, and then we can take it from there.
Mhm.
And I want to really emphasize that even though the course is a paid, there's a price put on the course there, but we don't want anybody to miss attending that course because of the money. If that, just like we wrote there on that page, if there is an issue concerning payment, let us know. We can work out with you what it's more important to us that you experience the course and that you are able to change your life, get it on track, and hit your target before you leave. That's the only that's the only way you can really experience what we call life fulfillment. Otherwise, you can pass through this earth, you can become like any qualification you can think of in life. You can make several accomplishments in life and still feel empty. Just know you haven't hit the target. Fulfill, the other time we were talking and we mentioned about people that actually had plenty of money, bought yachts, private yacht, went to the middle of the ocean and committed suicide in their yacht. And you would wonder, he has everything going for him. Talk about money, talk about house or cars or any of these physical things money can buy. There are plenty of it, but the life is not fulfilled. Man is made for a purpose, not just for survival. And that's
Well,
what will encourage each person to look forward to.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arinze. We don't want to give too much away because part
That's
2 is
right.
coming up next week, and this is so very interesting. And we want to keep it interesting. So let's not give too much away because we'll be back here next week, Tuesday, to continue talking about this topic of drifting in life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Israel.